Let's talk about what happens when cash flow dries up, because if you run a small business long enough, it's very likely going to happen. Maybe it's a slow month. Maybe a big client didn't pay on time. Maybe your expenses have just crept up and suddenly you're juggling too much. First up, remember to breathe. It's stressful, but it's also solvable. The worst thing you can do is freeze or start guessing. You need a plan and you need it quickly. We're going to walk through what to do when your small business cash flow hits a wall. We'll cover how to spot early warning signs, how to avoid trading while insolvent, how to prioritize your payments, what expenses to cut, how to handle directors' wages, and how to negotiate with the ATO. Start by getting really clear on the actual numbers. Open up your accounts, run your profit and loss, check your bank balance, and look at who owes you money. Don't just rely on gut feeling. Look at what's really happening. I've had so many clients say, "We're broke." And then we find $10,000 in overdue invoices just sitting there uncollected. Look, before we go any further, I want to say something really important, especially if you're trading through a company. If you're starting to struggle with cash flow, you've got to be really careful you're not drifting into insolvency. Trading insolvent means your company can't pay its debts as and when they fall due, and that's not just a business problem, it's a legal one. Directors can be held personally liable even if they didn't mean for it to happen. And unfortunately, directors can be personally responsible for ATO debt. So if you're at that point where you're juggling bills, dodging calls from creditors, and just hoping something will land in the bank before payroll, that's your red flag. You need to act before you're technically insolvent, not after. If you're unsure whether you're getting close to that point, speak to your accountant immediately. Get advice. The earlier you act, the more options you have. But if you can see a problem looming, here are the steps to take. Step 1 is to chase that money. Get on the phone. Not an email, not a passive reminder, an actual phone call. Keep it polite but firm. Ask for a payment date and follow up on it. And step 2, stop the leaks. Check your profit and loss statement. Go through your expenses line by line and be brutal. Cancel the software you're not using. Pause subscriptions if they're not critical. Look at wages. Can shifts be reduced temporarily? Is there overtime you can scale back? This doesn't have to be forever. It's just to get through. And here's the bit that's tough to hear, but it's honest. You, as the business owner, might have to take less wages for a while. That's the reality of owning a business. Entrepreneurs are paid what's left over after everyone else is looked after. That's just how it works. But that's not a weakness. It's a sign of good stewardship. When times are tight, sometimes your job is to hold the line, make smart calls, and protect the long-term survival of the business. If you do that well, if you manage the business right, that leftover can grow into a really strong return for all the risk you take. That's the goal. Not just a regular wage, but a business that rewards you with long-term value and profit. Next, let's talk inventory. If you have cash tied up in stock, you've got to move it. Run a clearance, offer a bundle, create urgency. Cash in the bank is better than unsold product on a shelf. If you've got a tax bill or super obligations due and there's genuinely no money, don't ignore it. Call your accountant. There are things we can do. The worst option is silence because penalties and interest stack up fast. Another thing, communicate with your team. If things are tight, they probably already know it. Be honest, but also reassure them. Let them know there's a plan. Now, this one is important. Look at your pricing. Are you charging enough? Are you still making the margin you need? I worked with a plumber client who hadn't raised prices in 3 years, and rising costs were killing his profit without him even noticing. A 10% price increase can make a huge difference, and most of your customers won't even blink. And while we're at it, check how you're invoicing. Are you waiting until the end of the month? Could you switch to upfront payments or progress billing? The faster you invoice, the faster you get paid. And if you're offering long terms, like 30 or 60 days, you should rethink that. You're not a bank. If you've done all this and it's still tight, consider a short-term funding option, but carefully. I'm not talking about payday lenders or sketchy finance companies. Talk to a reputable finance broker about a line of credit or small business loan, but only if you have a clear plan to repay it. Don't borrow to survive month to month. That's not a fix, it's a trap. Next, something that's vital. Once you're out of the crunch, you need to build a buffer. Put a percentage of every invoice into a separate bank account for emergencies. You need to have access to sufficient emergency funds to run your business and your life for 6 months. This might sound like a lot, but it is needed. Now, none of this really sticks unless you've set your own wage at the right level. That's a crucial step. So make sure you check out the next video. I'll walk you through exactly how to set your owner's wage the smart way. And if this kind of practical advice is what you need more of, we've actually built a complete small business course that walks you through everything you need to know to run a successful business in Australia. It's straight talking, no fluff, and designed to cut through the jargon. We cover over 20 topics, things like tax, cash flow, pricing, payroll, business structure, basically all the stuff that can either make or break your business. And if you become our client, you can get full access for just $95. That's it. It's a fraction of what you'd spend on even one advisory session, and you'll walk away with confidence and clarity in every area of your business. So, if you're ready to understand your numbers, make better decisions, and stop feeling overwhelmed, this course is for you. You'll find the link below the video. Jump in and check it out.